Hello. So in this video, we are going to write a code for tic-tac-toe game in Python. So basically, tic-tac-toe game is played by the two users. So here we are considering that one player is computer and other player is user. So we are going to divide this code into four main tasks. And for every task, we are going to have a separate function. Let me list down those tasks first. So there are four main tasks. So we need to have a function that is going to display the tic-tac-toe board on screen. So a function to display tic-tac-toe game board. Secondly, we have to have a function which is going to take care of user choice. The function for user choice. Thirdly, we are going to have a function which is going to take care of the computer choice. Function for computer choice. Thirdly, we have to have a function which is going to make decision for that who is the winner and who is the loser. So function for decision. Okay, let's get started. So basically we are going to represent our board in the form of two-dimensional list. So list, we are going to have list like this. It's going to be 3 by 3 by 3 matrix. So initially all the entries in this list are 0, 0 and 0. So we are going to have this kind of list 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is going to be our initial board. Okay, but in order to print this list in the form of a board, we need to have a function. So for that we define a function and I will call that function board, and board is going to take this list as input. And for the things to look nicer, we are just going to print some kind of heading before we print the actual board. So heading is going to have something like this. Here you can write tic-tac-toe board. So this is your heading, and after heading we are going to print each of these rows: first row, second row and third row. And we don't want to print these brackets, so for that we have to use for loop. For I in range 3, we are going to print this print, uh, leave some space, and then you can print the first row. The first row is given by this. I mean, if when I is 1, you are going to have first row, first column, and then we have to have first row, second column. So row is the same, but we are going to change the column. The column is going to be 1. Similarly, give another one space, and then print uh, first row and third column. This function is going to print a board without these brackets. Okay, there has to be comma here. Let's save it. Okay, this is not L, this is basically list. So this is list because input of this function is a list. So it has to be, have to correct it. Okay, let's save it and let's try to run this code and see what we are going to get out of this function. So let's call this function here. This function is board. So we are going to call board and we are going to pass this list in this function and run this code and see what happens. If we run this from here, we'll see that we get a board like this. So initially all the entries are 0, 0. So we are going to reserve some integers for user and for a computer. So let's say user choice is represented by 2 and computer choice is represented by 1. So let's say, so we are going to express user choice by some number and computer choice by some other number. So let's reserve 1 for computer choice computer choice and 2 for user choice. So if there's entry 2 here, that means that place has been taken by the user. If there's entry 1 here, that means that place is taken by computer. Okay, now let's comment this because we don't need this anymore. Okay, now let's write a function which is going to take care of user choice. So I will say def user choice, and this function is going to take two inputs. First is going to be the list and the second is going to be the user choice. So user has to tell us that which place in this board user would like to select, and user is going to tell us that by the position of these entries. For example, if user wants to take this place, then user has to tell that it's a 0 0 position, and if user wants to take this place, then user has to tell that this is 1 1 position. So for that we are going to take input user position, which is given by I comma j, and we are going to take input the list, which is the board. Okay, so let's say if user selects a choice, some entry in this board, and that entry has been taken before by either user or by the computer. Let's say if user selects a choice in this board which has already been taken, then we have to tell user that you have to select another choice. For that we have to use a while loop here. So we are going to use a while loop, and if uh, in while we are going to have this condition that if entries at ijth position in the list is already been taken, that we can write like this. So if this is not 0, that means entry at this position has already been taken. So we are going to ask user to re-enter your choice, and that choice is going to be stored in ij. We can ask the user, please enter a correct choice I comma j. So this is what we are going to ask user if this has already been taken. As long as user is selecting a choice which has been taken, we'll keep asking user to give a new choice. But once this condition is false, we can replace that position by 2. That means ith j entry which has been chosen by the user, we are assigning that entry to value 2. Okay, now let's talk about computer choice. So let's call it cmp underscore choice. Computer is going to take only one input, which is list, and computer is going to randomly decide the choice from here. And for that we have to use random function. In order to use random function, we have to import here from random import rand integer, because we need random integer function from this random module which we can use here. So I is going to be random integer from 0 to 2, because their positions are number from 0 to 2 in this board, and j is going to be another random integer, random from between randint between 0 comma 2. Again we have to test, like here, whether the choice ijth position is available or not. We can use while loop as we did in the user choice list at ith jth position. If this is not equal to 0, that means this position has already been taken, so we have to reselect our choice, and this is how we do that. So just copy it and paste it here. Okay, so when the condition is false, we can assign at this position the choice by the computer, which is 1. So now we are done with the computer choice. So this, okay, let me just repeat why this is showing error here. Invalid syntax, list I comma j is equal to 2. Okay, yeah, the one bracket is missing here. Okay, now we have to define a function, and that function is going to make decision. So let's define a function which is going to make decision, and we are going to call this function decision function, and this function is going to take only one input, which is list. Okay, there has to be colon here. Okay, so what are our decision parameters? Okay, if let's say if this row has all twos, that means user wins. Similarly, if you have to check all the rows, if this has all twos, then user wins. If this has all twos, user wins. If all the entries are 1, then computer wins. Similarly, you have to check the columns, and we have to check these two diagonals. For that, we have to use if else statements. Okay, let's first test these diagonal entries. For that, I will use the if statement. If, in order to express diagonals, here I can use the concept of list comprehension. For example, if I want to express this diagonal, I can simply say that list is going to contain these entries I, and for I in range 3. Okay, so this is going to give me diagonal entries. If this is equal to 2, 2, 2, then user wins, right? Or this diagonal and the other diagonal, right? Instead of writing something here, because I will run short of space, you can always break a line in Python using backslash and then press enter, so you can continue this line from here. So if this diagonal is equal to 2, 2, 2, or in order to write this diagonal, this one, I have to write different kind of indices here. So I would say that it's I minus 2 comma I. So this will give you this diagonal if you have this range for I in range 3. If this is equal to 2 comma 2 comma 2, so if either one of the diagonal is 2, 2, 2, that means user wins. So you can just simply print a message here that print you win. Okay, if you're not sure about this, you can simply check here. If let's say if when I is 0, you get 0 and 1. So 0, 1, you get 0. Okay, sorry, this has to be 2 minus I. 2 minus I. So when I is 0, you get 0 here and you get 2 here. 2, 0 is this position. Okay, when I is 1, you get 1 here, you get 1 here, which is this position. Okay, when I is 2, you get 2 here and 0 here, which is this position. So this bracket is going to give you this diagonal, this one. Okay, so if this is true, we should stop the game because you have won. So here we can have, because the function can have return statement. In order to know that someone has won, we have to have something here. So we are going to return. Now you come out of this okay, now we have to check the same thing for the computer. So we have to use else if statement. Else if, just copy the same thing and paste it here, and you simply have to change only few things here. This has to be 111 because we are checking this for computer, and you can simply write here computer wins. Okay, so we are done with the diagonal checking. Now we have to check all the rows and columns for computer and for the user separately. Okay, so you can have else statement here, and since there are three rows and 3 columns, we have to use a loop to check all these columns and rows, and we have to check 3 rows and 3 columns separately for the user and 3 rows and 3 columns separately for the computer. Okay, so for that I will use a for loop for I in range 3, because there are 3 columns and 3 rows. First I will check this for user. Okay, list. So again I'm going to use list comprehension, list I, and then when you leave this empty, that means for single value of I, we are considering all possible value of j here. For single value of row, we are considering all possible values of column. So when I is 0, you get the first row here, and when I is 1, you get the second row, and when I is 2, you get the third row. If they are equal to for I in range 3, if this is equal to 2 to 2 comma 2 comma 2, or so we are done with checking the rows. Now we have to check the columns. uh, let's break the line here. So we are going to use list comprehension again to represent all the columns. For columns, we are going to have this. So I is going to go here, first column, and j is going to go here. So for a single value of I, which is the which represents row, we are going to run the entire j, the entire column. So so we'll get the first column for j in range 3. So this is going to give you columns. If this is equal to 2 comma 2 comma 2, then we have to print a message. And what's that message? Message should be, okay, sorry, there has to be if statement here. If okay, and this should end with this semicolon. So we have to print a message. Print, what should be that message? Message is, okay, so the message is you win. You win. And then again we have to return something, return, and that return is true. So this true simply means that I'm using this true to indicate that decision has been made. Okay, yeah, there has to be some indentation here. Okay, now we have to check the same thing for the computer. So we have to use uh, else if, and we have to repeat the same thing, but with only 1 entries. Copy, paste. Okay, so we have to change this with 1 1 1 1 1 and 1. Okay, so we are done constructing our decision making function. We can connect all these functions in another file to make flow your code. So let's open a new file, and you can give a name to this file. So I'll call this file with the name of tic tac toe main. Okay. Now in this file I'm going to connect all those functions that I have defined in this tic-tac-toe func file name. Let's call all these functions in this file, main file. So import from tic-tac-toe, import user choice, computer choice, and board, and we have a decision. So these are the 4 functions we have defined in this tic-tac-toe file, tic-tac-toe underscore fun. So this was the correct name. So from this file we are importing all these 4 functions. Okay, so let's comment this because we don't need that here. Okay, save it and just go to the main file. And in the main file, first we have to define an with only 0 entries. 0 0 0, and then 0 comma 0 comma 0, and we have 0 here, 0 comma 0 comma 0. Okay, so let's first print the board. So for that we can simply use board, evaluate board at list. So this will print a board. Okay, so we have to keep playing this game as long as all the positions are not filled or we get true from this decision. Remember, if any decision has been taken, the function is going to return true. If this is true, it's going to return true. So in all these decisions, we have this return true. If we get true here from this decision function, then we have to stop. Or if all the positions have been taken, we have to stop. So we have to define a variable which is going to be position counter for this program. So we have to have while loop, and this while is going to run as long as the result is a variable. If this is not equal to true and the count simply tells you that how many positions have been taken. If the count is 9, you can stop. If the result is 2, you can stop. If they are not true, if the result is not true and the count is not 9, you have to keep playing. So initially we can assign result instant false, and count we can assign 0, so that we can go inside in this loop. Now here first we have to take choice from the user. So I comma j eval input and enter. You can ask user to enter your choice. I comma j. There's no need to put this bracket here. So if user has made choice, we have to okay, so we have taken this input from the user I comma j, that has to be passed in user choice function. So user choice I comma j comma uh, list, and after user has selected a position, then we have to say that count is equal to count plus 1. That means one position has been taken. When count reaches 9, we will stop playing the game. Okay, the next thing is we can just simply print this board list, so that we should know which place has been taken by the user, and then we can call the decision function, and decision at this updated list, and this decision is going to be stored in this result. If the result is true, then we can stop playing the game. So here we can just check here, if result is true or count is 9, then we can simply say that break. We'll come out of the for loop because we are done playing the game. If this is not true, we can simply, okay, if the result is not true or the count is not 9, we can ask computer for its turn. So now the computer is going to make choice using its function computer choice, and it's going to take list as input. And once computer has made a choice, we have to update this count. So count is equal to count plus 1. Again, so again we can print board here, so board and list, and then we can make a decision result is equal to decision or at this updated list. It is showing some error here, so this is 1 equal to sign is missing. So we are done. So your code is now complete. Okay, so we have written these two files, where this one file contains all necessary functions, and the other file, we have connected all those functions according to our requirement. Now let's run this file and see what happens. When you run this file, you see the board here, and computer is asking you to make your choice. Let's say you make this choice 1, 1. 1, means you have decided for this position. So 2 is going to appear here. So you see 2 here, and computer has already taken its choice. Now it's your turn. So we decide 1 0 1. 0 1 means we are looking for this choice 0 1. 1. So we have taken this choice. Now we can win if we take this choice. Let's do that. So it's 2 comma 2 comma 1. Okay, so you win. So now you can play this game in different number of ways. And so this is not the best possible way to write this code. You can make this code even more efficient if you use some other features of Python. So this is kind of hint to write a tic-tac-toe game. Thank you.